I got an SLVR5 in for service with a bad picture. I didn't know whether it was a power supply problem or not, because it looks like it's been repaired, but the picture's bad. So I figured I'd grab my SLVR5 so I can swap power supplies to verify, to rule out that it's a power supply problem or something else. And when I went to fire up my machine, which worked last time I used it when I repaired it, I found it's got a problem. So we're going to have to fix that one first, and then we can fix the other one. Let's check out what I've got. This one's the machine with the bad picture, and you can see how unstable it is. And this is not the machine that's being repaired in this video, by the way. That's going to be a separate one, but I just wanted to give you an idea where we're coming at, where the problem is. I don't know whether this is being caused by the power supply or whether we have a problem in the video circuit. So I figured I'd open up the power supply and start there, only to find out that the power supply has already been rebuilt. And I likely rebuilt it years ago for the guy that owns this one, because I've serviced it before, but I serviced it many years ago. So after noticing the power supply was rebuilt, I figured I would grab the power supply from my other machine and use it. Now, before I get started swapping power supplies, this machine was working perfect when I put it away. I want to make sure that it's still functional and that problems have not arisen since it was put in storage, because it hasn't been used. Oh. It hasn't been used in, well, since it was repaired. So I don't even know if this one works anymore. I don't think it works. Great. Now I gotta eat and tape. Wonderful. See, this machine worked fine when I put it in storage, but this one hasn't been used, well, since I rebuilt it. This is the one that had the power supply and the caps and the audio. They were all done on this, but it hasn't been used. I just put it in storage and left it there. And, well, something has failed on it, so let's figure out what's wrong with this. I gotta pull it apart anyway because I want to pull the power supply out to verify. But now I have to take it apart anyway because it's decided to eat my test tube. And this is actually par for the course with VCRs. This is where the biggest problem with VCRs is. I'm putting the screws for this one in a separate pile. Is if they're not used, they tend to fail. So you could have a VCR that's in absolutely perfect condition, and you use it for a bit and then you put it away, and you go to use it again a year down the road because you found another tape that you forgot to digitize the last time you were digitizing your tapes, or someone gives you an old tape. They say, hey, take a look at this. Remember this? This is our camping trip from 1985. And you go to play the tape, and the machine doesn't work. That is very common. And it's just because these old electronic devices, they don't like sitting around. So this chewed up a tape that's disposable. That's why I put in disposable tapes for testing. Let's just see what went wrong with this. Why is it not working? That guide's not sticking. Let's just try running this machine through its paces. I'll try loading this tape again. I want to watch what it does. I'll sacrifice the tape a second time. Okay, well, that part seems to work. You know what? Capstan motor is not turning. That is the problem. And that is why she eats the tape. So what's gone wrong with this one now? I got two dead machines to deal with. Is the capstan motor stuck? Is it a stuck mechanism, or is it a that's what I don't know, whether it's mechanical or whether it's it doesn't appear to want to turn. Okay, well, we'll just pop the bottom off this one. At least I can get at it on this machine without having to remove the chassis like the other ones you have to remove the chassis on. What I really should do is I really should get these machines running and just sell them while they're running. It appears to be that it is completely stuck. Does not want to turn. Okay, interesting. See, I can't even turn it by hand. That's interesting. Okay, well, let's figure out why it's stuck. At least I can get at it easily. Maybe that's all that's wrong. It's the capstan motor stuck on here. But that's interesting. I don't think I've ever encountered that. It doesn't appear. Is it the mechanism? I don't think it's this. It's sticking. Just pull the screws out here and remove the board. And once again, I say this is what happens when you store electronics and it's not being used. And that's why every owner's manual for every VCR and every camcorder, it says if you're planning on long-term storage, run a tape through it and go through all the modes. Fast forward, rewind, play, etc. You don't have to play an entire tape, just pop a tape in, load it up, and let it run for a minute or so. And that just keeps parts from freezing up and sticking, which looks like what's happened on this. Is the capstan motor has decided it no longer wants to turn. So we'll just pop the. Oh, I think I gotta remove the. That one, I think it's got to come out. Maybe not. Yeah, like that. Okay. All right. Now I can see why this is sticking. We'll loosen off the belt. Remove the belt. And this has frozen up completely. Look at that, I can't even turn it. What the hell? Oh, it's stuck good. Why? I guess I gotta pull the capstan motor out. We can investigate further. I should have another one of these capstan motors. I know I have another capstan motor if I have to change it, because I've got a lot of old Sony, like SLVR5 and so forth, that are just in parts breaking condition. So if the motor can't be resurrected, I can always swap one in. I just want to verify that this one works, and then we can borrow the power supply, or vice versa, put the other power supply in this one and see how it works. Either one will do the job. As long as I have one working machine, I can verify the power supply is okay. So the motor comes out pretty easy. I can see what the hell I'm doing. We can just lift the motor out from the bottom and see why this thing won't turn. It is just frozen completely. It's probably the bearing in the top is let go or something. Just see here. What is happening? It's the rotor is actually mashed up against the coils here. You can hear it dragging, almost like the top portion of the bearing at the top here has worn out, which is always a possibility. This is the newer style of bearing too. This is not one of the old crappy bearings. This is one of the newer bearings. But it sure looks like, I mean, that's what holds this, that's what provides the separation, is the motor sits in here, the magnet is pulling against this metal plate, and the bearing, the top here is what holds the bearing in place. There's a couple of little washers here to keep the lubricant in them, but it's like that's going way too high. So maybe the material in the top here of the bearing that the end of the capstan sits in is worn out, because that should spin freely and it's not. Could be that the bearing is just bent. That's always a possibility too. These do bend, but I mean, it shouldn't have bent because it hasn't been used. This thing hasn't been used, you know, in years. So normally the pressure of the pinch roller pushing up against here caused this piece to bend. But again, that shouldn't have happened because this hasn't been used, it hasn't been run, so it's just been sitting in storage. So the only thing that has been constant is the magnetic pull of the magnet up against here. Whether it's dented this or something in the bearing cap up top here is bad. We'll try just, wonder if I can just punch this. Oh, I can see right now where the problem is. Did you guys see that? Watch this. Watch this. When I put this in, watch the top. The crimp at the top has let go. Watch. When I snap this together, you're going to see this piece is going to pop up because it just dropped down when I put a screwdriver on there. Watch this. See? That is shot. That is where the problem is on this one. If you watch this, when I pushed on here, this went down. So this is normally held in place by, you can see three little divots on here is what normally holds that in place. So I wonder if I just put a slot screwdriver on there and hammer it, whether that will bring it down enough that it will hold it in place. Let's just try a slot screwdriver on top here where they crimped it, and just try hammering this over a bit. All right. Ow! Ah! You know what they say about pricking your finger on something sharp? Damn! Now I know what diabetics go through like 5 times a day. Ouch! Oh, look. It spins! Woohoo! I've never seen that happen before. But you guys just saw it. Woohoo! It spins. All right, let's put this thing back together, and then I can test this machine and see if it actually works. And then we can try the other power supply and see whether it's the power supply that's faulty, and swap the power supplies around and fix the other machine. But as I say, the other machine is going to, I don't know when I'm going to put that back in the same place where I stabbed myself as you put it on the other holder up at the bench. I usually keep it stuck up at the top there, and I had it in my toolkit, which is a kind of a stupid place to put it, if you ask me. Just asking to stab my finger on it again. I turned it around this time so that it won't stick me. We'll put the little I probably should put some oil on this while I've got it apart, you know, just because it's apart. Maybe I will throw a bit of oil on here while it's apart, but I mean, it would have been done before when I had this motor apart, or when I serviced this. I'm sure I put oil on this bearing at the time, but I'm not going to do it now because I want this to be broken the next time I pull it out of storage again, so I can fix it yet again. That looks a little better. That spins a little better than before. For sure. Before it wasn't turning, it was just grinding. You can see the space now. There's about a millimeter space that you can see all the way through here. If I shine a light on here, you'll see it from below. Yeah, I should see a light through there, but the light is too bright. But you can see there is a space. There is a space between here now. You can see it. Alright, so let's throw this capstan motor back in and see that this machine works. And then we can deal with the other one. So the motor just pops back in, just like that. It only goes in one way, and the 3 screws to hold it in from the top. feel like a pincushion today because I went to see my doctor just for like my annual checkup because I haven't been to see him for a while. And I was told that because there's such a shortage of doctors, I am one of the fortunate people that have a family doctor. And because there's such a shortage of them here that I was told, well, you better get in to see him at least once a year because they could drop you as a patient. So I figured I better go do that today. And of course he says, I want to check your blood. So I had to go over to the lab and get poked. So if you see me next week with a big bruise on my arm when I'm doing videos, you'll know why. Turn me into a pincushion. Alright, put the screws back in. Now what's falling off this thing? And test this machine out and then I can put it back in storage so it'll break again before I haul it out again. Alright. Plug in the loading motor on the top here. And we'll try this again, and it should work this time. Better work this time. Alright, there we go. Now it's working. You can see this is how the picture should look off of one of these machines. The picture off this one is perfect. We'll just try Super VHS and make sure that it plays back fine, and then I'll swap over the power supply. And that way we can see whether the other power supply delivers as good a picture in this one. And if it doesn't, then we know the problem's on the power supply, and if it does, then we know the problem's somewhere else. So there's the Super VHS tape playing, auto tracking. There we go. So that's as good as it gets. So next, we'll swap the power supply. So let me just pop my tape out again here. We'll pull the plug. And we'll swap over the power supply that's going to be under test, because power supply can certainly cause the picture disturbance that we're seeing on the other machine. Alright, so power supply comes out. If you guys remember this power supply, go back and look at this video. There's 3 parts on this machine when I serviced it last. And that power supply was in really rough shape, although this one's not in much better shape. It has traces, I'm sure, I didn't even pull the bottom off it yet. But we'll plug it in and just see. I don't even need to put this thing all the way in to the cabinet. All I need to do is just plug it in. Okay, that's good enough. And that's good enough. Okay, let's see how the tape looks on this one. So, looks pretty good to me. So now we know that the power supply, which I say, I can probably just leave this power supply inside this machine because there's nothing wrong with it. And it looks like that caps were all changed on this before. So no problem with the power supply. The problem on the other machine is in the video circuit, so we'll deal with that and get the other one running. But I'm going to do them as 2 separate videos just because, well, this one here, yeah, that noise is just from the plasma. This one here, of course, had its own fault from that capstan motor just from sitting. So now you know, if the capstan motor is not turning on one of these Sony machines, check the little crimps up here, because that little disc came loose in it. Just because it's always under constant magnetic force, right? There's always a force from below that's always pushing up against that capstan. And I guess just over the years, the little crimps here got weak, and the little disc was able to move enough that the rotor seized up against the stator assembly. So Now you know. And we'll do another video for the other machine. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Alright, got this machine back together. What I've done is I've left the power supply from the other one in here, and the reason I did that was because I don't want to put any more undue stress on the connectors at the back. We've all seen pins break and fail and so forth, so I figured if I just left it plugged in, there's no point in creating additional stress on a connector that's already old as the hills. Since we know this power supply works and we know the other one works, which I rebuilt. I probably rebuilt this one too, by the way. I say the chances of me having rebuilt this one in the past are probably, well, not this one, the one that's in here now. We know I rebuilt the other one. We know I rebuilt this one. If you guys remember this one here, it was pretty ugly. Had to put bridge wires in, bodge wires, as they call them. I know I rebuilt this one, and I'm pretty sure I rebuilt the one that's in here. But this one was in really sad shape. If you remember this one, go back and look at the video for this, because this one was in really sad shape. But they're both functional now, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I might be sorry though. I've got one in here now that I don't know the history from when I've worked on it, because to say this other machine that I'm going to be doing another video on that's got the bad picture, I know I worked on that before in the past. That's a customer's machine. I know I worked on it in the past, but it was a while, and as I say, that when the power supply was repaired for that, I'm sure that I did it and changed them all out. And now of course it's broken again, but it was a while back. I don't even think there was a video done on that machine, because it was done probably before I was doing these videos. But anyway, this one's back in running condition. Capstan bearing, well, you saw it got deformed. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.